units, we've got a report of a two-vehicle RTC on Brooklands Road. Have got anyone available?
Yeah, Yankee November 09, you can show me towards over.
Yeah, 09, all received.
Yeah, November 1, 2.
Yeah, November 09, we are state 6.
So as you can see, the Surrey police have attended the incident.
RTC person's track back of Brooklands Museum. Right,
M2HS from Sierra 182. Sierra 182, no status 01, mobile to incident.
Well, one of the first things that the officer in charge is doing is indicating to his driver where to position his vehicle. Now that's obviously a little bit difficult to picture because we're not on a main road, but one of the things the officer in charge will be doing is using his fire appliance to protect crews. So he's parking his appliance or positioning it in what we call a fend-off procedure.
So you can see the officer in charge now, incident commander, is in there bending on the floor, he's looking under the car, he's looking for all hazards and dangers.
His crew are pulling out a hose reel. This is a high pressure hose reel. The reason we do this is obviously we've got a fuel tanker, but also we've got fuel from the vehicle. You'll also see now you see the black plastic blocks. They're quite tough plastic, and what the guys are looking at now is stabilisation. Now it's very important when we're working on a car that the car is stable. Lots of cars rock on the suspension. And you notice there's another firefighter now inside the car. Now he couldn't get in the car until it had been stabilised. So the officer in charge now is indicating to the police officer what his plan is. He's setting up a plan. From the moment he actually turned up, he's assessed the casualty and the injuries that are there, and he's having a plan in his mind. He's thinking about what equipment he needs. Does he need any further appliances? What ambulance service is required? And anything that he hasn't got on the incident, he'll request this from the control. Okay, the area right in front of me that the guys are setting up here now, we call this an equipment dump. The reason for this is we get all our equipment out. When the equipment's been used, it then goes back in that position. Reason for this is if somebody needs it, knows where to look for it, it's there. And looking back to the car now, you notice that some of the firefighters are doing things with what we call a salvage sheet, and they're now going to break the glass. And this is something that we call in the emergency services glass management. That basically means we remove all the glass from the bodywork of the car before we start cutting the bodywork itself. The majority of glass in a vehicle is what we call toughened, apart from the windscreen, which is laminated, which has 2 layers of glass with a plastic film in between. But because, like I say, the majority of glass around the car is toughened, it takes a small shock and it will shatter, and then they can remove that glass. So at the moment they're now managing the glass of the front windscreen, And you'll notice rather than smash that one, it's a lot easier to remove it. Again, you'll see it's placed out the way, safe area. You'll notice now that a couple of firefighters, they're taking away what we call the rubbers and plastics. We call this action just removing plastics, simply because those pieces of rubber and plastic can be removed and it's not going to hamper the cutting gear. The cutting gear is ideally designed for cutting metal. And a lot of what's going on now, we actually call in the fire service simultaneous activity, i.e. there's crews setting up the cutting gear, there's crews doing the glass management. We don't wait for one thing to be done before we move on to the next. You can see that the tools are working and the guys are starting to remove the door. And what they're using there to remove the door is a combination tool. We call that a combination tool because it can cut and spread. But the other tool that the other firefighters are using, just at the back of the car, that's called a dedicated cutter. That's got a much stronger cutting force, and I'd have to refer to my notes to tell you the exact force. It either cuts or it doesn't. There we go, we've got some facts about those. Now that cutting tool that Neil there is using at the back of the car, it weighs nearly 90 kilos. And he's using that with quite a bit of confidence. So he's obviously a strong guy, but that's quite heavy, and if he's using it for some time, that's going to get quite heavy. So you can imagine, if you're not sure of what 19 kilos is, it's 19 bags of sugar. Now when it's cutting, that cutters can cut together with 16 tons of pressure. So 16 tons. And it can cut through that roof quite easily.
Hello, we've got a number of men and the vehicle arriving on scene now. Now all three emergency services, the police, the ambulance and the fire service, we work towards what we call the golden hour. Now this hour is an actual 1 hour 60 minutes in time, and it's deemed that for somebody with serious injuries, if they're going to need surgical intervention, i.e. they've got broken bones and the surgeon needs to fix them, now it's actually deemed their best chance of survival and recovery from that surgery is to be in front of the surgeon within the hour of the impact of their crash. That's it. For those that you can see that ram there, and that's basically what we were saying about the dash is trapping the driver's feet. So what they're going to look at doing is pushing the dashboard forward. This needs to be practiced time and time again. Okay, what you'll notice now, the white board coming in. Now that's what we call, and what the ambulance call, a spinal board. So it looks like the casualty's now free from the car. Again, reassurance is obviously a priority as well. The casualty doesn't know where they're going. And they're backing the equipment up, so the appliance is what we call ready to be deployed, or redeployed. So also checking that his crew haven't left any pieces of equipment. Because obviously, you can imagine, if we turn out to an incident, we want everything with us.
So I think you'll all agree with me, you maybe want to put your hands together for our crew. Chris there, the officer in charge in the white hat, done well, and his crew have done well. Everything's all back on the truck. So the crew have gone. And there we are.